Northern California.
What's up, YouTube? It's me, the artisanmc, and today I'm going to review The Mandalorian Season 3, Episode 5, The Pirate. Now, I just finished watching this episode. I fell asleep early last night, woke up early this morning, watched this episode, and I was pleased with what I saw. So shout out to Peter Ramsey for directing this episode. Now, as I understand it, this is the episode that was really hands-on with John and Dave on this one because it leads into the overarching story of what this season is supposed to all be about. And I got a couple of good nods in it. I got a couple of still grown moments that I'm still, skeptical on. The whole girl boss thing is kind of bothering the shit out of me. That most of the development is happening with Bo-Katan Kryze's character, as aside from the Din Djarin character, where he's falling kind of to the background and she's stepping into the forefront, which is kind of understandable because this season of Mandalorian is supposed to serve as a tent pole for all the shows that are coming off of it. Ahsoka, the Mandalore show, some of the other stuff going on. He is supposed to be the tent pole, so it makes kind of sense that he's falling back a little bit and other people are getting, promoted, getting some time on the camera. But at the same time, I showed up for the Mandalorian. That's kind of the main character for me. So I'm not overly focused on everybody else getting shine in his show. I mean, this has been an issue with Star Wars recently, that no matter whose name is on the title, it's always about what they're pushing behind it. You saw it with Obi-Wan, you saw it with Boba Fett, you're seeing it with the Mandalorian right now. That doesn't matter whose name is on the header. The story is about some other character in the show that you weren't showing up for to begin with. So that's bothering me a little bit. Now, the character being Bo-Katan Kryze and Katie Sackhoff. I don't have a lot of experience with Bo-Katan Kryze. I'm only learning her from this show. I didn't watch all of the Clone Wars. I didn't watch all of the Clone Wars. So I'm learning about the character a bit more now than from watching the CG animated version. And while it is an interesting character, I do not need every important scene and everything happening important with the Mandalorians to flow through that character. I don't. It just doesn't ring true to me. Now, understand this is one of Dave's characters. He's really fond of his characters that he creates, but this is the Star Wars legacy, and I want to see some of those other characters represented more than just every character Dave created needs to be given center stage. That's just me. I don't have a problem with Dave, but look, bruh, there's a lot of characters out there. There's a lot. And I'm not partial just to yours. Sorry. So, be that as it may, this episode takes us back to Navarro, and you get to see Greef Karga, played by Carl Weathers, once again on Navarro, trying to set up his trade route and plan out his city. And wouldn't you know it, Monkey Kelp, or pirate, Goran Shard, shows up, and he's pissed off that some of his pirates got taken down in the streets of Navarro by Greef and Mando. And he lost some guys, so he's coming back to lay claim to the city and reinforce his rule on the city. Now, Greef doesn't want to go for that, so Greef sends out a distress message to the New Republic. And specifically, I'm forgetting the character's name right now. Excuse me. The one older Asian X-Wing pilot who's part of the New Republic. police force, as it were, Alpha Squadron. And I'm forgetting his name. He said it a bunch of times in the show, and I'm forgetting it right now, so forgive me. But he sends a distress call to him because the guy asks. Now, this is the actor who actually recruited, in a sense, Cara Dune, right? But since you do not have Gina Carano in this season because she was fired from Lucasfilms during this time, you have this character, Captain, I'm forgetting his name. You have the captain showing up, get the message, and trying to engage the New Republic to get them to help out in Navarro. And so much so, he has to go back to Coruscant to actually talk to one of his superiors about, we need to help Navarro. Now, once he's back on Coruscant, we get another scene with Katie O'Brien's character, which we just saw 2 episodes ago, turning in, Dr. Pershing and cranking the dial up on him and wiping his mind, turning him into a noodle, a vegetable or something. I don't know what she did to him, but not on the up and up. But she is working in this New Republic office and ear hustling the information that this captain is bringing in. They have a little bit of an exchange, and you discover that the New Republic is just as ineffectual as the Empire, and they don't have the resources, or they don't want to get involved because Navarro has not signed the charter. So since they didn't sign a piece of paper, we ain't helping you. Tough shit. And that leaves the captain to go and find other means to render aid to Navarro. And sure enough, the captain gets in his X-Wing, flies off, and the next scene you have him showing up at the covert on the watery desert, watery mesa planet. And my first indication was, well, how did he find the covert so easily? But turns out he kind of had a tracking device in the crew. Right. So he shows up to the covert. They do not kill him. And he makes his pitch to the Mandalorians and Din Djarin specifically about helping his friend on Navarro, letting them know what the situation is with Greef Karga, and that the New Republic will not step in, but those people there need help. Right? He swears he will not reveal the location of the covert, and he's out. He's back off onto his mission. Now, this leads to an interesting scene where the Mandalorians, and Din Djarin specifically, hold like a council meeting. And they gather in the cave, and Din, while holding the armorer's hammer, is able to speak in front of the group. And he tells the group about Greef Karga, what the situation was, and what he wants to do. That he does want to go help this man because this man has helped him before. But he also throws out there that this man has also offered him a plat of land. And in Din's view, it would be an opportunity for the Mandalorians to be in the sun again and let their children play in the sun again. Now, I like that idea of Din, of him having something more at stake rather than just the Mandalorians, but wanting to be able to have his group, his family, his covert out in the open, that they don't have to hide anymore. They don't have to be living in caves and getting eaten by crocodile turtles or snatched up by raptors and shit, that they can be out in the open and have their own land. I like that idea. Now, once he is finished, he hands the hammer back to the armorer, and the armorer asks if anybody else has anything they want to say. And while there's murmurs or whatnot, of course, one person wants to say something, and it's Paz Vizsla, the heavy gunner. He takes the hammer and he wants to speak. Now, initially, his speech goes that he really feels like he does not care and wants to leave Greef on his own, but he does change up and says, yes, we should do it. We should help. Because even though he may not like Din all the time, Din helped him save his child. And Bo-Katan helped when others were writing the kid off. So he is appreciative and grateful, and they have his loyalty for that. And sure enough, the rest of the Mandos, get it up, and they load up on Bo-Katan's ship, and they go to take on the pirates on Navarro. Now, once you're on Navarro, there are good scenes of aerial combat and fight. I'm not going to go into all of it because I'm trying to keep this short so I can get my ass off to work. But it's some good flying and fight scenes. I will say that the combination of Mando's N1 and Bo-Katan's Kree's Gauntlet does work well together. That the Gauntlet is a big enough target that people will center on it, but Mando's N1 is a fast enough fighter that he can get in and pick them off really quickly. I'm liking that combination of it working well together. The two of those ships work well together in combat. I still miss the Razor Crest. I'm not gonna lie, I still miss the Razor Crest. I do. I thought it was a really unique design. I really like the look of it. But the N1 is getting the job done. Just put it that way. Now, over the skies in Navarro, Din, Bo-Katan, and the Mandos on the ground engage in a fight with the pirates and rout the pirates from Navarro. They have taken Navarro back, and in a moment of quiet after the fighting, the heavy gunner, Paz, tells Bo-Katan that the armorer would like to speak to her. And Bo-Katan is led to the underground covert in the sewers when the Mandalorians used to be on Navarro way back in season 1. And Bo-Katan and the armorer engage in this conversation. And the armorer explains to her that this forge was similar to the one on Mandalore. And Bo-Katan remembers that one. And that the Mandalorians have strayed pretty far from the way. But they all need to come together. And she orders Bo-Katan to remove her helmet. And she does. And what the armorer tells her is that she grew up believing that the mythosaur was a legend, but that Bo-Katan had actually seen it, which proves the point from last episode that she actually did believe Bo-Katan when she said she saw it. She believed her. And with her helmet removed, she can see the reaction on her face. She did see what she saw. The armor recognizes that to bring all the Mandalorians together, they must find a way to bring them both, and that Bo-Katan is the one who can walk both worlds, being knowing the ways of the covert and having your helmet on, or being out in the sunlight with your helmet off to talk to these people. So the armorer taps her to be the one to go out into the world and bring the rest of our wayward Mandalorians all back to Mandalore. Now, they present this to the rest of the Mandalorians and Navarrans and Greef Karga as what her role in the world is going to be, to walk between both worlds and bring the people together to unite them again. And Din nods in agreement with it, and Greef, in the later scene, brands them as heroes to the people of Navarro, and always will have a home there, that this is their home now as well. So now the covert can live on Navarro in the open, and they will function as the de facto protectors, which I'm fine with. I'm totally fine with Mandalorians being on another planet. At least ones without, fucking croc turtles and shit flying around eating your kids. Now, from that scene, which this is the part where Bo-Katan is centered and the girl boss gets another promotion for doing a couple of missions. It kind of rubs me, but I understand that you're setting Bo-Katan up for the next spinoff show, which is Bo-Katan Kree's show. I understand that. Now that show has been renamed Mandalore or whatever. Fine, this is going to be her show. I don't have a problem. You're feeding into that. You're trying to, do the groundwork for that right now. So the show is not starting cold. Fine. But the next scene you get is this captain, the Asian captain in the New Republic, out in his sector patrolling, and he comes across something floating in space, which is revealed to be a Lambda-class shuttle. And the shuttle shows signs of being attacked. And while sending a probe inside and doing some reconnaissance back with the base, he finds out that it is the shuttle, New Republic shuttle, that was supposed to be carrying Moff Gideon. And it proves the point that Moff Gideon did not make it to trial, and he was extracted en route to trial. So he is out there running loose. Now, the stinger in this episode comes in the form of the probe that his R5 or whatever unit is actually scanning the wreckage and finds, which is a piece of Beskar embedded in the shuttle. How it got there, I don't know, but it leads you to believe that the Mandalorians are the one who rescued Moff Gideon from the New Republic on his way to trial. Now, that's supposed to be a stinger, but to me it's not really one, because one of two things. You already saw a couple of episodes ago that when Bo-Katan was coming back from Mandalore after rescuing Mando, there was a huge contingent of TIE fighters all over the place, right? Not only were there TIE fighters, a large contingent of them, which I said in my review that they have to come from a larger ship. There were also TIE bombers there, and they bombed her castle, her home. And my thinking is, how the fuck they know where they were? Why? Now, the seed for that was laid in the earlier episode where Din went to visit Bo-Katan on her planet and found out where was her fleet. Where was the fleet that they stole from Moff Gideon? And Bo-Katan told him they're off mercenary in the galaxy somewhere. Where do you think they went? With TIE fighters and Star Destroyers. Where'd you think they went to? Now, I would have liked it better if that whole scene was a lead-in for Thrawn, which is what I thought it would have been, because that is supposed to be their next big bad. But I'm fine with seeing Giancarlo Esposito again. I mean, I like Moff Gideon. He got a little style about him. Little swagger, right? And he is intimately involved with the Mandalorians. So, you know what it is. Now, why a group of Mandalorians with Imperial technology ships would help him kind of seems simple. He's paid, but, I guess we'll wait and find out. But it does lead you to understanding why Bo-Katan's castle was bombed. That it paints a whole different picture if you believe that it was Mandalorians and those TIE fighters bombing her castle, deposing her. So basically what it sets up is that we're going to have a pseudo Mandalorian civil war going on. Because now there are two factions of Mandalorians, one on the side of coming to the way and one on the side of the Empire right now. So from what I understand, this might be playing out a little bit like the Clone Wars, which is bothersome to me because I don't have time to go back and watch 7 episodes of the fucking Clone Wars. But we're going to get it again regardless. So I guess that's just where we are. But I did enjoy this episode. I really did. It was a good way to start my morning with some fresh stuff on my head. I'll look forward to seeing the next episode and seeing when Giancarlo pops up. I will want to know what's going on with these other Mandalorians and see if what's her name, Sasha Banks, is on that squad or not. You know, because I'm waiting to see her again. It's kind of cute. So that's it for me. Like, share, subscribe, support the stream if you feel so inclined. I've been artisanmc, and I will see you all next time.
You want to talk to me?
We can't wait, but it's all an illusion.